All right, everybody, welcome to week 3. So just like last week, I'm going to take a few minutes here to go over some common questions I got this week over the week 2 material. So just to get right into it, I want to quickly introduce another piece of software that I think might be useful to you guys, and it's called GitHub for Mac. Now, there's also a Windows version of this as well. It looks very similar and operates basically the same way. And this is a graphical interface that you can use with Git. And once you download it, you can pull it up here and you can see it here. And I've already added my TC349 directory. And you can do that down here. So let's see, if we remove this, you can do this down here by going add local repository and then just browse to wherever you've put your repository for this class and click add. And it will automatically add it and pull down all the information it needs. So what this allows you to do is come in here, and you can see I'm working right now on my week 2 material here, my hello world, and you can see here that I haven't committed any changes. You can see the entire week 2 directory needs to be committed. So now instead of going into the terminal and typing git status and doing our whole git add stuff, we can just from the graphical interface add and commit all of those to the repository. So we can say week 2 commit, and we can commit that. And then what we can do is we can sync this commit to GitHub. And just click allow. And there we go. Now our changes are completely synced to GitHub. And we can check this in a couple of different ways. The first thing we can do is we can jump into terminal and we can, let's just navigate back in there and type git status, and you can see that we are on a clean working directory. There's nothing to commit, and we are at the same level as our remote branch. And if we jump back out to our browser and we actually go to our GitHub account, so let's see, you can see that my most recent commit now is week 2. So if this works easier for you, you might want to use this application instead of the command line. You won't be free and clear of the command line in this class. We'll still have to get in there occasionally, but that might help you stay a little bit more organized with your repository, and it might help it all make sense a little bit. In fact, once you've used the Git Mac client or the Git Windows client for a little while, you may find that you understand how Git works, and you may find the terminal to be a little bit faster after you get to know it a little better. But give it a try both on the Mac and Windows, and let me know what you think. And it might be easier for some of you than using the terminal. All right. Next up, I wanted to talk about a couple of quick formatting things in HTML. I had a couple people show me some of their code this week and ask me for some feedback and help. And I had noticed one thing that was sometimes common, and I didn't really mention it last week, although we're going to get into this in more detail this week. And that's around all these attributes, these HTML attributes. You want to make sure you're not adding extra spaces like this before and after the equal sign. You want those to be right following the character before it. So you don't want to have any white space in there. I don't believe it matters in terms of the browser's rendering it. The white space doesn't matter, but in terms of formatting and how it looks, it makes it much easier to read. So you always want to make sure that your formatting is proper in your attributes in HTML. And like I said, we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in this lesson. So the final thing I wanted to go over, a lot of you had a lot of difficulty getting the browser version to pop up in the Click Me, and I just want to briefly talk about this real quick on how I did it. And it's really quite simple once you see the function. And right here, this is my completed hello function, and you can see the only thing I need to put inside this alert to get our browser version to pop up is this navigator.app version. And I'll post a link below to some additional help on this, and I've distributed this link to some of you via email this week. But this navigator.app version, this is the navigator object of the browser. So this is basically an object and we'll talk about objects when we talk about JavaScript programming a little bit later, but it basically holds information about the browser itself. So we can then use this object and we can ask it about different parts of the browser. In this particular case, our app version. So this little string right here will return the app version of our browser. And you can test this by opening up your file in a browser and clicking on Click Me. And you can see here's the full app version output from our navigator object in JavaScript. And we will get more into objects in JavaScript and JavaScript programming in general a little bit later on this semester, but this was just meant to be a little primer for what's to come. So hopefully that helps, and hopefully that clears up some of the confusion. If you have any questions, feel free to email me and ask, and I'd pick kind of the top questions of the week, and I'll cover them again at the beginning of next week's lesson. So that's it for the review, and check down below for the next lesson in week 3.